Being a Broadway performer is pretty cool.
And a lot of hard work.
Getting there is even harder.
We're going to tell you all about it.
I'm Adrienne Walker.
And I'm Austin Cook.
Welcome to 32 Bar Cut.
Oh, I'm drooling.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Welcome to Broadway Banter on 32 Bar Cut. I'm Adrienne Walker.
I'm Austin Cook.
And today we are doing part 3 of asking Austin 25 questions. Now, why in the world do you want to hear this guy right here, Austin Cook, answer 25 questions?
I don't know.
This is why. I'm going to tell you why. He is a phenomenal musician. He's a Broadway music director, Broadway music conductor, and most recently, a Broadway music supervisor. And so we are going to ask him questions because he's going to take us all to the next level. And don't you want to level up? Because I want to level up. I always want to level up. Okay, anyway, so this is part 3. So if you haven't seen part 2 or part 1, you can check those out after you watch this video. These aren't the questions aren't in any particular order. They're just, it's Broadway banter. Sometimes we banter between the questions, and it took longer than one video to ask all 25 questions.
Yeah.
So let's keep it going. Are you ready to answer some questions?
Before we get started, let's hit that like button and subscribe with the notification bell on so you can stay up to date on all of our videos as they're released. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by September. Help us get there. We can't do cool stuff on YouTube till we get to 1,000.
They're restricting our creativity.
They're restricting us. I want to do like polls and stuff for you guys so we can be like, hey, does this happen to you and blah, blah, blah? Or what kind of video do you want to hear in the poll and all this? You can't do that stuff till you get 1,000. So hopefully we'll get to 1,000. Help us. Okay.
Are y'all ready for some questions?
Ready.
All right. If the music director assigns a choral part that I am uncomfortable with, how do I communicate that?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. Communicate. But how do you communicate? First, communicate it. So don't just
take it.
Don't just take it. Because most of the time they're doing it because they don't know your voice that well. It's actually that's actually a big issue that I actually work to overcome consciously, is that I know that we do a lot of work on the team. The music, there's a lot of work that happens, months of work that happens before rehearsal day 1, right?
Yeah.
From the music team. And a lot of that is constructing kind of vocal parts and kind of thinking about that stuff for actors and kind of thinking about all of that, the vocal arrangements and so when we get in, sometimes we have from your audition or how we know you in the past or we have some idea of your voice. So in our minds, we've already kind of put you on the soprano line, knowing that you did this one show that was a crazy high piano. We don't know that you actually hated that process and it was terrible for you and all that. We just know that's what we remember.
Thanks.
So we've kind of assigned you in the soprano role. So we're just thinking that that's good. But if you don't communicate that you're uncomfortable there, or you won't be able to do it 8 times a week, or it's something that you're very concerned about that needs to change, you just need to communicate that. And a good music director can go with the flow. A good music director will say, oh, no problem, we'll put you here. And then we'll say, Maria, can you pop up there? Or we'll say, Chloe, can you move up here? And blah, blah, blah. And they'll compensate. That's what a music director's for. Most music directors will handle the vocal arrangements as well. So just communicate it. And don't feel like that makes you a problem. It doesn't make you a problem. It's completely acceptable.
So we should feel empowered to just say, oh, that's actually too low for me. I only sing down to an A. That's a G. Can you put me on another part? Or I can sing this occasionally, but singing up to a high B is too taxing on me for 8 shows a week.
Yeah, it's all about how you say it. If you say it in a way that you're not going to do something that doesn't, it's probably not
I'm not
the
going to
best.
sing that.
It's probably not the best way to do it. But you should more express it as you're uncomfortable with something. So if you're uncomfortable with something, or you feel like you're not, your voice can't handle that, or you can't do it, then just bring it up. That's what a music director's for.
Love it. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Another question.
Yeah.
How important is intonation? Being on pitch consistently. Why are you laughing?
Yeah, how important on a scale of 1 to 10? It's a 10. I don't know. It's very important.
But there are singers out there who don't have great intonation and have awesome careers.
Like?
Don't do me like that. Don't do me like that.
Like?
No.
No, it's incredibly important. Yeah, you got to be able to sing on pitch, especially in ensemble work. In ensemble work, you're really trying to line up with everybody else, all your friends. So if you're constantly pitchy, you're going to bring the whole ensemble out of whack. But good singers, are able, even principal singers can you need to have good intonation. So yeah, it's
a 10 out of 10. It's important.
It's important. You gotta be able to do it. You gotta work on it.
Follow-up question.
Yeah.
How do you work on it?
On intonation.
Yeah.
Record yourself.
Ooh.
Number one, record yourself. Because it's hard. I can't just be like, because sometimes you hear it. Like most music directors are going to have great ears. They hear stuff. And then I know a lot of times people are like, huh? I don't hear whatever you're hearing.
Yeah.
Well, it's because it's a different level of precision that you get used to hearing. And like for me, like I tune pianos too. And when you get used to hearing wavelengths and pitch on a very, like a micrometer precision level, which is tuning pianos, so like I'll get into that, but it's a very precision way of hearing sound waves, and it's very precise. So if you're dealing with a music director who's more on that wavelength, it can be very frustrating to be like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm singing the pitch. A lot of times the way a pitch feels, this is not a lot of times, this is fact. The way a pitch feels in your body is different from the sound waves and the intonation and the pitch that it's producing outside of the body. You can feel like you're in tune and hear a pitch in your mind that feels a certain way, but is being received by us as sharp. That is why vocal coaches exist and voice teachers exist. You'll hear them say things like, I'm singing "ah," and they're like "ah," and they're trying. So a lot of times they're using these kind of things to brighten up, so it's perceived sharper, or you're a little under and it's just like "ah," it's just like it's a little brighter. So it's just being aware of that stuff. So if you record yourself, most of the time, you will think you did it right, and then you'll listen to yourself and you'll be like, "Oh, I can kind of hear a little bit of what they're talking about." Or you can further assess it. You can be like, "Well, when my vibrato kicked in, yeah, that's when I went, whatever. I went sharp, or I went flat because my vibrato is an under vibrato that's like underneath the pitch." Or it could be that your straight tone is too sharp. And then when your vibrato kicks in, it kind of levels it out so it sounds okay. There's also a lot of subtleties to know in music theory that are very exciting that I could get into. And I won't do it now, but like thirds should always be sharp. Fifths should always be a little bit flat to sound in tune when you're dealing with ensemble stuff. This is not stuff you necessarily need to know, but good music directors are aware of this because sometimes there have been situations where there's a singer who's really good at their own pitch. Like they're really good at pitch. They're not so good at listening. So when they're on the third, they're always flat because they're like singing the true pitch, but they're not like blending. And the third is always a little bit sharp in Western music. So the stuff like that.
Yeah. You
got to be able to like listen and hear. So it's something you should be recording yourself. And that's probably the best way to work on it. Or obviously hire a vocal coach, tweet teacher.
Now, with everything he said, I'm sure you're probably like, oh my God, I should just hang it up all now. I'll never get all this down. Take it with a grain of salt in that Austin is kind of like really incredible when it comes to music. That's his thing. And anything that you're like really, really interested in, you laser focus in on it and you do it really well. You learn everything about it. Not saying that you're not capable of doing that, just saying that Austin is very special in this area. And so don't be overwhelmed. You are capable of this. Just practice on it every day. It will get better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Practice.
You ready for the next question?
Ready.
This one is kind of more like a casting question. No peeking.
Okay.
This one's kind of more like a casting question. But I feel like you will still give us a great answer. Okay. How important are looks/types when casting for certain roles or projects?
Super important. How important? Looking for like a percentage of look and type?
Based on, like, say someone has the voice, but they don't have the look. They're out of the running?
Not necessarily. It depends on the show.
Okay.
So I can think of some examples, for instance. I remember when I was playing for Beetlejuice auditions.
Yeah.
Beetlejuice was looking for a certain type for one of the roles, and someone came in who was completely
Not that type.
not that type at all, like completely different in so many ways.
Uh-huh.
They had a really great audition, were really funny, which for that show it mattered in that particular role. I don't want to give all this away. So in that particular role, it mattered that you were really funny.
Mm-hmm.
And this person was hysterical, like had everybody in stitches, and the voice was incredible. And everybody was like, "Who are you?" And this is amazing. So that was like an exception to the rule
But
because
not the rule,
they were so great.
Mm-hmm.
And also perfect for the role in a way. They just didn't know that type would work, if that makes sense. They thought it was this type for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of had to be proven wrong to be this completely different type.
It sounds like you're saying that, especially for new works, this is the best scenario to maybe not be the type they're looking for because you may change their mind.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. But just know that as a rule, it's just all type based, including shows like Hamilton. There are shows like Hamilton where it's like, oh, anybody can be in the show, but that's not true. Like it's very type driven. Even the Sons
of Liberty.
Yeah, the Sons of Liberty, like what they look like, and type extends to more than just skin color or size or weight. Type is like the aura, like who they are, what feeling that person is generating in the room. This is stuff you can't control, by the way. I'm not saying this is something you manufacture, it's just who you are.
Your essence.
That is type.
Yeah.
You have to be a certain type to be a certain role in Hamilton. It's not just like, oh, we'll hire anybody, any size, any shape, any color, blah, 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 for any role. No, that's not true.
It's way more nuanced.
It's way more nuanced than that. It's nuanced. So type is super important, in other words.
Actually, that answered both the question I just asked you and the next one.
Nice.
So I'll just ask the next one so you know that it was answered. In a match of looks versus voice, who wins?
Yeah, there's no clear winner. This is all a tug of war, by the way, and it's always a tug of war with casting, and that's just another thing you need to know as an actor, is the music department, the dance department, and the directing department. Okay, there's 3 departments in musicals. It's important to realize that they're all fighting for who they want.
Yeah.
So Hamilton's a great example of this, so I'll use it, and it's closest to home. Andy Blankenmuller, who choreographed the show, is fighting for dancers when it comes to the ensemble. Like, great dancers. The show is intense for the dancers. They're dancing 3 hours, incredibly specific. So obviously he's saying, I need my dancers. Well, then you have Alex Lacamoire, music supervisor, who the parts are incredibly precise and difficult in Hamilton for the ensemble, as well as dancing. He can't have people that can't sing or pitch because then the whole show dwindles. So now you have 2 departments saying, my department matters. Then you have Tommy Kail, who is the director, who's also saying, I need that man 5 to be this role, and that person you're talking about is not capable of being that role. They have to be intimidating and powerful, and you've got an 80-pound, 21-year-old white spiky hair kid. It's just not going to work because they have to overpower Hamilton and the cast and Mulligan and all this. That's an example. So now you have directing, dance, and music all fighting for who they think is going to be great in their department. That's a lot. Okay, so it may have been you had a great audition, you slayed, you're a perfect dancer for this, and they don't cast you and you can't, you're like, my dancing, maybe you go into spinning mode of like, my dancing wasn't good enough for No, it doesn't mean that. It just means that some department, so something needed something else or something else to happen. And that's type. That's all, when we speak of type, that's just all of that categorizes who you are, the type you bring. And maybe a certain type didn't do it for one of the departments.
Yeah. I can say with confidence I didn't do it for the dance department at the Line Game. Like she did. She ain't want me there, but I went out for the other 2. But
that's what happens. In shows I'm doing right now, that happens all the time. It's like one department. Usually, it just depends, but whichever is more important. There are certain roles in musicals that are dance heavy. Yeah. So usually the music department will say, okay, we'll go with that dancer, but it's going to be a project. It's going to be a problem.
It works both
Same
ways.
with the directing department. They'll be like, well, the acting, I'm going to have to really help this actor get through these beats. just for the sake of music, which happens a lot because they need to be able to sing crazy riffs and all that. So the directing department will be like, they can't act as much as I'd like, but I will help them, spoon feed them through this.
Yeah.
That happens a lot. Yeah.
That was so thorough. I didn't even know that you had more to say. That was really helpful. I hope y'all found that helpful. I did. Okay, next question. How do you make your final decision? Who adds their input in the room?
Final decision for what?
Casting.
Oh, okay.
So
ask the question again.
Yeah. So, how do you make your final decision? How do you make your final decision?
For who to cast?
Yeah, for who to cast. And how do you weigh in? So, like, you're working on this project now, which you all will hear about in a year. But Austin's working on this really cool project, and they're in the process of casting a few roles that haven't been cast yet. Yeah. And do you get to provide input, or do you just wait for the director to tell you who he or she wants?
Oh, no. It's similar. I'm glad I just went through this whole process because it's just what we kind of just talked about, which is every department has input. Everybody on the creative team on that, you have the directing department, the dance department, and the music department, and then casting. But casting is just a vessel. Like, it's not their job to cast. It's just their job to say, well, have you thought about this person? I think they'd be what you're looking for. It's these three departments that have to fight over who they want cast. So I will, as I was saying earlier, I know that this particular track has a solo in Act 2 that goes crazy gospel runs or something nuts, and they have to be able to facilitate some crazy stuff and hold the audience for an entire number. Well, we can't hire somebody that can't do that. I mean, that's just a musical. The music is important. You can't just have a song not land. So if that person isn't cutting it, it'll be a deal breaker. It'll be like other departments.
It doesn't matter if they love them. It's not.
It doesn't matter if they love them, so they're off the list. Similarly, there may be a singer, this happens a lot too, that is amazing, has like the best voice ever, but they cannot act. And we know that acting is an important part. The director, obviously, and they're at the top. So the director will say, no, we can't go with that. Or the type is wrong. They'll say, it's just not going to work because if he's really, really short and weighs 80 pounds and our lead woman is 150 and she's 6'1" and he's supposed to like do something with her physical on stage, it's not going to happen. And it's not your fault. It's just a type thing, you know? So there are reasons like that. The director will trump the music department, but it's a constant dance. Yeah. It's a constant dance between the dance department, the music department, and the directors. So how do I make a decision? The answer is I don't. But as a team, we all lay out who our top is. Yeah. And hopefully this happens sometimes where my top is also one of their tops, and that makes it easy. Then it's a done deal. But there are more times it's this is my top, this is their 5. Oh, this is their, they're down there, but maybe it'll work. This is where callbacks come in. We've had that discussion at your first auditions or your first callback. Now for the final callbacks, usually it's to convince the one department where it's not working. It's usually for them to be like, let's see if it's kind of like a tryout to see if we can get them to where they're supposed to be. Yeah. That happens a lot in Hamilton, for instance. That's why it's such a long process. Yeah. It's about saying, like the dancers, for instance, go through a long process in Hamilton because everyone knows they can dance. Like they get approval from blank, and now it's just about the music department working with them and making sure they can sing the Seabury solo, which is a hard solo to sing, but that a dancer has to do that. So it's about getting them kind of seeing if they can get up to speed and be able to perform it. Yeah.
Thank you for that. So it sounds like you're saying it's a group effort, but everyone's vying for their person or the actor that they provide.
Each department's going to vie for what they think will bring the best show to their department.
To their department.
Because I'm not responsible for the dance. I don't know anything about it, but I'm responsible for making sure the show sounds great. Yeah. So, and that's the same for the dance department. Choreographers are like, I need to make sure my show looks great. Yeah. And the directors are like, I need to make sure everything's great. So that usually, we're all fighting because of that, because I'm in charge. That's a lot of pressure on me, because if I have somebody that can't sing, I hired them in everybody's mind. It's like, what were you thinking? And I was like, well, I can't throw team dance under the bus. Well, team dance made us hire them.
Well, it depends on the person. I've seen people get thrown under the bus. Yeah. Okay, next question.
Yeah.
What is your idea of the perfect audition?
The perfect audition.
Yeah, the play-by-play. You walk in, you do this, you do that, and you leave. And that was the perfect audition.
I like it.
Now, the next question is, what is your idea of the perfect auditioner? So you can answer them both now, or you can, precision that.
Let's go with the first audition, and I'll try to be quick.
Okay.
You walk in, you go straight, you say a warm hello to the room.
Mm-hmm.
You walk straight to the piano. You give a professional a description of what you're about to perform. You give a good clean tempo. You go through anything to note on the show. We talked about this in another video, so I don't need to linger on that. You go to the center of the room, look at the accompanist. They start the song. Your song is tasteful. It is a great audition song for that particular show that we're casting for. You show musicality and great acting and storytelling, and it's a great cut. You kill it. You thank the room. You go to the piano, pick up your book, and you leave. That's it. That's pretty much.
Okay, that's your play-by-play. If you don't watch anything else in this video, I hope that you watched that. And then, so the perfect auditioner, meaning the person that walks in, what makes them great? You're like, oh, breath of fresh air.
Confidence and preparation. Yeah, not extending into arrogance or ego.
Yeah.
Confidence and preparation.
Yeah, so you don't want a timid Tim coming in.
No, you can't be timid.
Yeah.
You have to, it's your room. In an audition, when you enter the room, it's your room.
Mm-hmm.
This is your audition. We're looking at you, It's not for us to try to comfort you or do whatever. Yeah. Hopefully we do that. Hopefully we're very, nice and kind and all that. But it's for you to enter with confidence and kindness and passion. Hello, do your thing. You've prepared. You're good to go. Walk to the room, sing your face off, leave confidently. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the perfect auditioner.
This is the final question.
All right, I'm ready.
It's a good one.
Okay, I'm ready.
What is one thing you really want? Before I finish that question, have you hit the like button yet?
Hey! Hit that like button and subscribe.
What is one thing you really want every musical theater actor to know?
What is one thing that I want every musical theater actor to know?
From your perspective, I guess.
I know, it's so hard to just pick one.
Yeah, I know, but you have said a lot in this series.
I know, I've said so many things.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing, there's a few things that come to mind, but I guess from my perspective as an accompanist, because that's how I grew up accompanying, I've been accompanying for so many auditions and music directing and all this, is for you, and I'll say it just because we talk a lot about auditioning and for actors, is just try to put yourself in the accompanist's shoes. So what would I want you to know? That being an accompanist is hard. It's really difficult, and it's stressful, and long days, and you have to be very good at what you do just in order to do it in the first place to get hired. So try to be understanding of that and look at yourself if something goes wrong. Mm. And what I mean by that is it's possible that your book has been photocopied crazy.
Or you skipped a bar.
That which you should know. But it's possible that your book has been photocopied crazy, that it wasn't easy to page turn, that one of the page turns is in a really bad spot for the pianist and they can't physically do that in time. Or when you turn the page, there's a key change to the top of the page, they didn't have time to see it. Just remember, we only get one shot to read music for the first time and to try to do it with you. So maybe there's a way you can clarify or make what we're looking at better and easier. So I guess that'd be my parting thing, is consider the accompanist, and possibly you'll even have better auditions if you do.
I like that.
Yeah.
So the one thing he wants you to know, folks, consider the accompanist. Yeah. Well, that's it today on 2020. I'm just kidding.
Hey.
So thanks so much for sticking with us for part 3 of the series of Asking Austin Cook, a Broadway music director, 25 questions. I think we ended up asking you around 28 to be accurate. But guess what? The comment section is open. So if you have other questions that you have for Austin, write them down below. We will do another round of this. instead of just writing it, we will actually have a banter episode where we answer your questions.
Yeah.
So thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
See ya.
Have a great week.